currently practices lifestyle medicine, and we'll let him bring us our special feature today.
Good morning. Welcome. Happy Sabbath. What a beautiful place you have. I'm going to try and use some slides here, if we can. Yes. You know, in Psalm 139, verse 14, it talks about how we are so fearfully and wonderfully made. And you know, it's an exciting time, actually, to be a believer, to believe in a creator God, because science is discovering amazing and marvelous things the deeper we look into the mystery of life. So this morning I want to briefly and fast, I'll be moving fast. My apologies if I go too fast. Ask me questions later. But we're going to look at why your DNA is not your fate. I saw in the bulletin an announcement to pray for Megan, and who's been in the Marshall Islands. Well, I spent 3 or 4 years in the Marshall Islands doing some research on using lifestyle to treat diabetes. You know, they have a diabetes epidemic there. If Megan is there and has told you, about 40% of the Marshallese have diabetes. And so we were using lifestyle to treat diabetes. And the reason is because here's the problem with diabetes. People don't actually die from high blood sugar. Very few people die literally from high blood sugar. What they die from is heart attack. And so you can see, if you compared to a non-diabetic, which we use as a reference of 1, a person who has diabetes that starts after age 45 is about 3 to 4 times the risk of death from heart attack. But look what happens if diabetes starts under age 45, and I don't know if you're aware of that, but that is what's happening. In fact, in the Marshall Islands, a study done in early 2002 or so showed that the average blood sugar, is pre-diabetic. But look at what happens with stroke. Stroke is even more problematic. So our world is facing a completely unaffordable problem that's going to follow in the wake of the tsunami of diabetes. Here's a map showing the obesity epidemic, and the number there, the darkest colors are over 60%. And this was the results that we had in our first treatment group, the first 10 days of what we were doing. We were using lifestyle to treat diabetes in Marshallese, and this first group, 2005, 4 and 5, you can see, had a dramatic drop. So dramatic, in fact, when I talk in medical conferences, people want to know, well, what magical drug were you using? What did you give these people? And what we gave them was we gave them food and exercise and, of course, education. But every time I talk about that, I always have people say, yes, but you don't understand. I've just got bad genes. I mean, you know, Grandpa had it, Grandma. So I got it on both sides. My mom had it. Do you know, you do not only inherit genes from your parents, you inherit a lifestyle. There's hardly a woman I know of that's a married woman that hasn't been asked by her husband, honey, could you just learn to fix, remember mom used to make such and such. Anyway, I don't see any heads nodding yes necessarily, but anyway, in the old days, that's the way it was. I guess today we all eat out. But the point is, we inherit a lifestyle. And the lifestyle, you know, people, I was just talking this morning, someone says, you know, he's overweight, I fight weight. You know, well, it's no wonder, you know, I fight weight. My grandpa was overweight, my dad was overweight, you know, I'm overweight. And I says, well, how about the dog? Is that genetic? So if the dog is overweight too, you have a hint it might have something to do with lifestyle. Anyway, January 2010, there was an issue in Time magazine. And it was all about why your DNA isn't your destiny, and it was talking about the new science of epigenetics. Epi upon genetics upon the genome. And it reveals how the choices that we make every day can change our genes. And notice that last part, and the genes of our children. So this ought to get your attention. A little history. This is an actual picture of Watson and Crick receiving the Nobel Prize for their discovery about deoxyribonucleic acid, also known as DNA. That picture up there, the little picture of the molecule, it looks sort of like a twisted ladder, right? It's sort of like a ladder that's been twisted, and each one of those cross connections is called a base pair. Just so, because you're going to get a little hint here. So each one of those cross pairs is a base pair. About 10 years ago or so, Dr. Francis Collins and his team sequenced the human genome. So now we know all of the 3 billion base pairs in that ladder, that twisted ladder. You realize that's in every cell in your body, right? 25,000 plus genes, millions of variations. Some of them, like sickle cell disease, is caused by just one mistake in the 3 billion base pairs. Just one mistake causes sickle cell disease, and if it's on both genes, from mom and dad, it can be very deadly.